हेलो फ्रेंड्स। आज का हमारा टॉपिक है एक्सक्रीटरी सिस्टम। तो लेट्स जस्ट डिस्कस जो पॉइंट्स हम लोग डिस्कस करेंगे इसके अंदर वो हैं व्हाट इज एक्सक्रीशन, द डिफरेंट ऑर्गन्स ऑफ एक्सक्रीशन, different types of excretory products which are formed, and the human excretory system. So let's get started. What is excretion? As we all know, the component structures and functional unit of all the organisms' body are the cells. These cells are also termed as the miniature chemical factories because of the continuous metabolism, and this metabolism keeps the cells and the organisms in the living condition. Besides producing the life, it also yields certain waste products which are not only useless but harmful to the cell and to the body. So, these wastes are eliminated by the body into its external environment through the process which is termed as excretion. So, excretion is elimination of all harmful and unwanted metabolic wastes, especially the nitrogenous waste from the organism's body. And the organs concerned with this function, those organs are termed as excretory organs. The chief excretory organs are a pair of kidneys. The some other organs which are there are lungs, skin, liver, and large intestine. They are also there to eliminate the certain metabolic waste. And these organs are termed as your accessory or the additional excretory organs. So, altogether, if we talk about what exactly the excretory system means, all the body organs which help the animal in excretion, excreting out the collectively termed as your excretory system. Now, moving ahead, let's discuss about the different organs of the excretion. As shown here, the different organs of excretion are your skin, lung, liver, and the kidneys. So we are going to discuss about these organs one by one. The first one is our kidneys. The paired kidneys are often considered as the main organs of the excretion. Their primary function is the elimination of excess water and the waste from the bloodstream by the production of the urine. The kidneys, they contain tiny structures which is termed as your nephrons that filters the material out of the blood and returns to the blood that is needed and excrete the rest as urine. The kidneys are parts of the urinary system which are also includes there your ureter, urinary bladder, and the urethra. The second organ which we are going to discuss is skin. Skin plays a role in excretion through the production of the sweat by the sweat glands. The sweating, it eliminates the excess of the water, carbon dioxide, and the salts, as well as the small amount of urea also. The sweat is secreted to maintain the body temperature constant during the hot seasons. The third organ is lungs. Lungs are responsible for the excretion of the gaseous waste, primarily your carbon dioxide from the cellular respiration in the cells throughout the body. The exhaled air also contains the water vapor and it traces the levels of some other waste gases. Fourth is the liver. The excess of amino acids are broken down in the liver, producing a very toxic ammonia. This ammonia is converted into harmless urea in the liver cells. The hemoglobin of worn out RBCs, that is broken down into bile pigment, which is your bilirubin, which is excreted from body along with the fecal matter. One more organ is there which is termed as your large intestine. It also helps in the excretion. The epithelial cells of the colon secretes some harmful inorganic salts such as calcium, phosphate, and carbonates from the blood into the lumen. These waste pass out of the body along with the fecal matter. So these were the organs which help in the process of excretion. Moving ahead, what are the different excretory products? So coming on that, the first one, it is subdivided into some particular groups there. So the first group which we are going to discuss is the waste products of the protein metabolism. Under this, the first product is the amino acids. These amino acids are the end products of the protein digestion absorbed into the blood from the small intestine. Certain invertebrates like some mollusk, or example your limina, some echinoderms like asterices, they excrete the excess of amino acid. And the process, this type of excretion, it is termed as your aminotelic excretion or aminotelism. The second metabolic product is your ammonia. Ammonia, that is your NH3. In most animals, excess of amino acids are deaminated, that is degraded into the keto and ammonia groups. The keto groups are used in catabolism for the production of the ATP molecules, whereas ammonia is excreted as such. The ammonia is highly toxic and highly soluble in water. Its excretion require a large amount of water. This is the reason, reason there, the most of the aquatic animals like your protozoans, sponges, cnidarians, mollusks, aquatic arthropods, amphibian, tadpoles, turtles, they excrete ammonia. This type of excretion is termed as ammonotelic excretion or ammoniotelism. The third is the urea. Urea, that is CONH2 whole square. It is less toxic and less soluble in water than ammonia. So it can stay for some time in the body. Many land vertebrates like adult amphibians, mammals, they can't afford to lose much water. So they turn their ammonia into urea for excretion. This type of excretion, it is termed as ureotelic excretion or ureotelism. The fourth is the uric acid. The animals living in the dry conditions such as insects, land turtles, birds, they have to conserve the water in their bodies. So they synthesize crystals of uric acid from their ammonia. The uric acid crystals are non toxic and almost insoluble in water. So, it can be retained in the body for a considerable time before being discharged from the body in a solid form. And this type of excretion, it is termed as uricotelic excretion or uricotelism. Next type of waste products of the protein metabolism is trimethylamine oxide. Certain marine mollusks or crustaceans first form a trimethylamine from their ammonia by a process which is termed as methylation. Then the trimethylamine is oxidized to trimethylamine oxide for the excretion process. This oxide is soluble in water but non toxic. The sixth type of protein metabolism waste is the guanine. Guanine, the spiders, they typically excrete the ammonia in the form of guanine. It is insoluble in water, so no water is required for its excretion process also. The waste products which are of the nucleic acid metabolism. The purines and the pyrimidines are absorbed from the intestine into the blood in form of nitrogenous organic bases. About 5% of the total excretion of the body accounts for these substances. In man, purine is exchanged to uric acid and pyrimidine into alanine for the process of excretion. The next is the water waste products there. 65% the weight of our body is made up of water. But if it exceeds a normal limit, It may lead to a serious disorders in the body. For example, edema, increased blood pressure. The water is taken in with food and in some drink forms or produced due to the oxidation of the food also. The water is eliminated along with the urine in the form of the sweat, through the feces, and through the expired air also. The next product is the bile pigment. These bile pigments are chiefly yellow colored bilirubins, which are broken down products of the hemoglobin of the dead RBCs. They are excreted out by liver cells from the blood and secreted into the bile juice poured into the duodenum by the common bile duct. These they give the feces the yellowish brown color also. Now, moving ahead on the different organs of the excretory system, as you can see in this picture, this the human excretory system. It is divided into four main parts. The first is the set of the kidney, next is the ureter, third is the urinary bladder, and the last part is the urethra. As shown here also, these bean shaped are your kidneys. The tube-like structure, this tube-like structure is your urethra, that is two in pairs. This sac-like structure is the urinary bladder, and the end part of the thing is your urethra. So now we are going to discuss about these organs one by one in detail. So let's move ahead. First is the kidney. The human kidneys are reddish brown, bean shaped, slightly flattened organs as shown in the picture also. They are present just below the stomach, one on either side of the vertebral column, and protected by the last two ribs there. Due to the shape of the liver, the right kidney is about 1 to 1.5 centimeter lower than the left one. Each kidney is about 11.25 centimeter long, 5 to 7.5 centimeter broad, and 2.5 centimeter thick. A thick cushion of fatty tissues surround each kidney for protection and keep it in a place. In the middle of the inner concavity is present a notch which is termed as hilus or hilum, which leads to a space named as renal sinus. The renal artery, renal vein, nerve fibers, lymph vessels, and the ureters, they enter or leave the kidney through these hilums only. If we talk internally about the structure of the kidney, histologically, a kidney is like a compound tubular gland composed of about 1.25 million highly convoluted tube-like excretory units, which are termed as your uriniferous tubules or nephrons, which are said to be structural and the functional unit of the kidney. In a longitudinal section, the kidney is divided into two regions. The first, the outer dark region, is called as cortex. This cortex is dotted in appearance and highly coiled nephrons are present in this region. And the second part is the inner light region named as medulla, which is straight in appearance as we see. Now moving on the next slide there. Now we are going to talk about, as told to you all, that nephron is the structural and functional unit of the kidney. So it is really very important to know in what manner the structure and the functioning of the nephron is working. Just moving ahead. As shown here, the first part of the nephron is the C-shaped structure, which is called as the Bowman's capsule, as shown in the picture here. The glomerulus along with the Bowman's capsule, together they form the renal corpus. After the Bowman's capsule comes the proximal convoluted tubule, which is followed by the descending limb of the loop of Henle. Then it comes the ascending limb of the loop of Henle, followed by a distal convoluted tubule DCT, and lastly the collecting duct. Now coming on the functioning of it, Here we have our nephron, which is the structural and the functional unit of the kidney that is mainly responsible for the production of the urine in order to get rid of the excess of the water and toxic waste products. Approximately, there are 1 million nephrons in each kidney. At this particular end of the nephron, the blood enters in through the afferent arterioles, which passes through a network of capillaries termed as glomerulus, and it leaves through the efferent arterioles. Then the components of the blood are filtered out into the area which is named as Bowman's capsule. The filtered components, which collectively termed as glomerular filtrate, passes on into the tubules. Finally, this filtrate enters the last part, that is the collecting duct, exists in the form of urine. In men, the filtrate, this kidney, it produces about 180 liters per day of the filtrate, but only 1 to 2 liters of the urine is produced per day, which means that only 1% of the filtrate it manages to leave the nephron. So this was about the structure of the nephron and its functioning. Moving ahead, the second part of the structure of the excretory system is the ureters. Ureters are a pair of long, narrow, and whitish tubules, as shown in the picture also. Each ureter is about 10 to 12 inches in length and less than half an inch in diameter. It extends from kidney to posterior surface of the urinary bladder. In kidney, it expands forming a funnel-shaped basin which is termed as renal pelvis. It prevents the backflow of the urine into the ureters during bladder contraction. Ureters, they carry urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. This ureter is also termed as urinogenital duct because it conveys both urine and spermatic fluid also. Moving ahead on the third part of the excretory system, that is the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is a pear-shaped sac-like reservoir, as you can see in the picture also, present in the pelvic region. In the urinary bladder are present 3 openings, 2 of ureters and 1 of the urethra. The openings of the blood into urethra is guarded by a sphincter muscles. It remains closed except when the urine is to be passed out. The bladder can hold about 0.5 to 1 liters of the urine. It also expels the urine from the body. The next part of the excretory system is the ureters. Ureter is a narrow tube leading from the floor of the bladder to the exterior. In females, it is 3 to 4 centimeter long and opens directly to outside. In male, the urethra is 18 to 20 centimeter long tube and it extends from urinary bladder through the penis, as shown in the pictures also. It opens to outside as an orifice at the tip of the penis. In females, the urethra serves as a passage for urine only, whereas in male, it serves as a passage of semen as well as of urine. So this was all about the four organs which are present in the human excretory system. So moving ahead now, here I have tried to figure out some of the questions on the topic which I have discussed, the points which are discussed with you all. So you can just go through the questions and the options are also there. So you can just test yourself and try to just memorize the topics which are discussed with you all. So thank you so much, and these are the answers of the questions which were given in the previous slide. So you can just check your answers also. Thank you so much.